Hey everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to PHLY Flyers Postgame presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app, use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games for it's a rough time. Evening? Is it evening at 10:04? I'm not sure.
It's late afternoon, technically, but
That's
I like
too
evening.
many.
Evening's a lot classier than late afternoon.
Joining me, it is Mr. Flyperbole himself. It is Steve Jakob. Steve, I just have one. Today was game 80.
It was.
22 out of 80 have gone to overtime.
I think I've done 15 of those.
I really think it's a real possibility that you have. Why do they hate us so much?
I don't know. All we ask for is to not get a point in these games, right? Just lose in regulation. Get those lotto balls, right? Get to the top of the draft.
They are so far behind in the regulation win tiebreaker that anyone that ties them, say, in points, like, is automatically going to finish ahead of the Flyers, and the Flyers will have the better odds. But they just keep adding to their point total, which is very, very frustrating by going to this many overtime games, especially this late in the season. Back-to-back this weekend, they take 3 out of 4 points. It's just annoying. It's just so annoying at this point.
And, you know, if this was a game that counted, if this was a game that mattered, there'd be some fun things to talk about today. You know, you had that late michkov embellishment call that was just weird and ridiculous. I don't understand why you call embellishment and the penalty. Call one or the other. Come on, give me a break.
He was really selling it. Matvei Michkov may have a career in professional wrestling if this whole hockey thing doesn't work out for him, because I don't know. Seemed like he was in quite a bit of pain.
He got shoved into the boards right by the benches.
A stick to the back in front of the boards.
So you get that. You get that embellishment call, which normally would be interesting, but, you know, here we are. Galley filling in for Brian Boucher
Good job
today.
by him, yeah.
Really good job by Galley. And he dropped a malarkey, which I really appreciate. That was fantastic. And then also just the support from the fourth liners today, which would normally be interesting, but was super annoying today. Nick Delorier scored his second goal of the season, I think 53rd of his entire career. Garnett Hathaway decided to show up today with a really weird goal late. You know, just stuff that would be interesting, but instead ends up being annoying today because we want this team to lose in regulation, and they refuse to lose in regulation.
You see, that's I want to look at the guys who scored today first to lead it off. Like, we have said many, many times, like, what can they actually do? You know, what can this team do to ensure better draft lottery odds? And we've pointed to the goalies so often. Like, I don't know, they're putting out these terrible goalies and things keep going right for them all of a sudden. Now, you look at Fedotov's numbers today, and they're bad. I think he was a little better than the numbers, but end of the day, you let in 4 on like 22 shots or something. What was it? 25 shots, 4 goals against. That's bad. 840 save percentage. So he wasn't especially good, but he was okay for, especially, I thought, the first 40 minutes of this game. But through the first 2 periods, you had basically everybody at even playing time. Like, I think like Konechny and Hathaway had even playing time through the first 2 periods, basically. Like Delorier, who averages under 10 minutes, was right around 10 after the second. And it's okay. You know, like in the group chat, my friends are like, they need to lose on purpose. I'm like, that's not really a thing. Like, well, what if they play the third and fourth lines 20 minutes? Like, well, they tried today and they got 2 goals out of the fourth line. Like, you know, what are you supposed to do when Nick Delorier scores and Garnett Hathaway scores? These guys don't score.
Nick Delorier has no business scoring in an NHL game.
And it's his second of the year.
Buzzing around the net today. Like, he wanted this bad because I mean, you know, how many more games does he have left in him at this point? That contract's over halfway done.
I'm going to be honest with you. Maybe a lot, because in 11:21 of ice time today, he registered 5 shots on goal, 1 block, 3 hits, and the goal.
MVP.
Nick Delorier was one of the best players on the ice for the Flyers today. And typically, if that's the case, they should lose 10-0. Like, but Somehow they force overtime today. They do eventually lose, and I suppose they didn't get 2 points, so that's a thing. It's just very funny. Again, like we've done this a couple shows in a row. I know why you're frustrated because I am too. I just don't know what can be done about what they're doing right now. The team isn't good. Like, they're not good. They have the worst goaltending. Today, they go out against a locked-in playoff team and outplay them for the first 2 periods. And the only reason they even get a point is because their fourth line picked up a couple.
Let me give you a list of things that happened today, and the fact that the Flyers still won, that's amazing to me. Matvei Michkov did not score. Tyson Forrester did not score. Nick Delorier got a significant amount of ice time. Ivan Fedotov at one point straight up threw his stick away and then promptly let up a goal on the blocker side. All those things happened, and the Flyers lost in overtime in this game. You know, it felt like a win. It wasn't a win, but getting that loser point is still a little bit of a kick in the nards to the whole tank effort.
And while we're talking about things we don't like, I want to tell you what you should like, and it's this show.
Beautiful.
Hit the freaking like button. We're at 12. That is not nearly enough after almost 10 minutes of airtime. You know that the goal every day is to get to at least 100 or they don't let me eat. I am so hungry. It's funny because you watched me eat like a bunch of leftovers from last night.
They smell good.
Housing DoorDash Outback Steakhouse.
That what that was? I was going to ask you.
It was actually pretty good, yeah.
Nice. I almost brought in a big thing of lo mein, but you know.
When I'm here yesterday, like Ava's texting me like, oh, remember that, and what was it? A Del Frisco's gift card that my parents gave us like 2 Christmases ago that we lost. She found it.
I have so many of those gift cards, yeah.
She found it and was like, let's go tonight. I was like, hell yeah. And then when I got home from the show, I was like, I don't want to go back to the city. I'm done. And I was like, I still feel like a steak, though. Oh, let's DoorDash Outback. That's the same thing.
The same thing
Del
as Del
Frisco's
Frisco's.
Outback.
Outback. And this show brought to you by Outback Steakhouse.
Outback
All right, let's get a
Steakhouse.
bloomin' onion, folks.
No rules, just right. Give me a big old Foster's. But anyway, the Flyers again. Listen, we have an hour to fill, and I have no idea because this game was terrible.
That's why I'm here today.
It was once again a boring freaking game. It wasn't that bad. I thought there was some like. We got a new announcer, which was fun. Galley did a pretty decent job. I like that he came in and clearly did his homework.
He did his homework a lot more than a lot of people have done.
We got a Nick Delorier goal, like you said. That's cool. And Ivan Fedotov's start is never normal.
Yeah.
So we get those things.
Just straight up through his stick. They watched the replay 3 times. Like, I thought somebody knocked it away. And nope. He threw it away. He's like, I'm done with this. I cast you out, stick.
It did seem like the shot loosened up, maybe his grip. And like, I don't know, maybe his hand went numb. Like, I don't know what happened. Because then he just like, he clearly doesn't have it all the way. And then he turns against the post and now it's gone. Like maybe he banged it on the post.
I'd love to know what's going through that brain in any given moment, because that man is a mystery to me, a total conundrum. I'm a little bit obsessed. Like, I wish he was better, because I think he'd be a fascinating character in Flyers lore if he was better, like a Hasek Light, if you will, where he's just flailing around despite the fact that he is a giant. This man is a giant, and he is just flopping like nobody's business. Like, he's just a little guy. He's a huge guy. Just stand there.
And that's what, let's talk about the goaltending today and just really what the hell they're going to do, because you get the weird moments out of him. He almost played a puck outside the trapezoid again. He has the drop stick thing. He's never going to look normal. But Ivan Fedotov today, at different points, kind of looked okay.
Bill, we need to talk ourselves out of this.
I know. No.
We have this conversation every 3 weeks at this point. We're like, he looked okay. Maybe we could roll him back next year. No.
I'm totally out on the Ivan Fedotov experience. If they want to waive him and send him to the AHL next year and play him with Bjarnason and see if you can turn him into something, okay, that's fine with me. If you want to come to some sort of mutual termination and he gets to go back to the K, cool. If there's some idiot team out there that is willing to trade for him, have him.
Have a way.
It's just so interesting to me because sometimes he looks normal.
Yes.
Like there was one point today, the Sens are coming in on a rush, shot from the top of the circle, and he's up at the top of his crease. He's square to the shooter, and it just hits him and falls to the ice. And it was just normal. And like, this is the little stupid stuff that he seems to struggle to do, like being square. And listen, you're gigantic. If you're at the top of the crease when they're coming in, they see no net behind you. There's no net. If you just stand there in position square, they can't see net behind you. And he did that a couple of times today. And you go, maybe there is some coaching that can be done because, but at the same time, he's 28. It's not like he's never been coached before. I know that the game is different and dealing with the traffic and things like that, that's a different, but he gets beat clean on so many shots where it's this guy probably just doesn't have it, but you just see him do the little stuff and you go, well, okay. But also, you know, he was pretty good in the KHL. He did come over here. He's in the NHL. Like, he's played a lot of pro hockey in his life. He should stop some shots, and I guess that's just where we are with him.
I feel like if he was 5 years younger, we could be having this conversation. We could be having the whole, like, let's teach him, let's find that diamond in the rough, right? But he's not 5 years younger. And I think a lot of people have hit their boiling point with this team, especially given where we are. We want to switch modes, okay? We are so sick and tired of tank mode, rebuilding mode. We want to actually root for the Flyers to win. I think that's one of the things that's really sucked about, and I think that's what got to John Tortorella ultimately too, was just, you know, rooting for the team to lose, rooting for the team to be bad. It sucks. We don't watch sports to root for our team to lose. That's not at all why we're in on this. We want to see the team succeed. We want to see them win. And just night after night of just this miserable, like, well, I hope they lose. It sucks, man. And I want to see them get a goaltender. I want to see them get a center. I want to see them compete in some way, shape, or form next season.
Then that's like everyone says, like, especially GMs and executives, fans always say, oh, just rebuild, start over. And then they live through it and hate it so much.
It's miserable.
And
we're watching our dear Sixers friends across the hall.
Yeah.
And they're just like,
they're having a celebration over there today because it's the last game of the season.
Yeah.
And like, that's a team that came in with expectations.
Yeah.
So it's especially like a kick to the gut because, man, we thought we were going to be talking playoffs, and no, we're talking about losing on purpose.
On purpose.
Like, I think John Tortorella so much is like, we compare him to an emotional fan so often because he is. Like, he says the first year he was here, like under Chuck Fletcher, when he's not allowed to say the word rebuild, knew that the team was rebuilding and proceeded as such.
Yeah.
And then as soon as, you know, Danny and Jonesy takes over, he's like, I'm allowed to say the word now, but I thought it all along, we're rebuilding. It's okay. Like, you can acknowledge that and go, this is what needs to be done. And then when you're in the middle of it, you're like, I hate this. I hate this so freaking much.
Miserable.
And like, yeah, I'm sitting here like, Nick Delorier scores a goal today. That's fun. But I hate it.
Right. I hate it. Like, I didn't enjoy it.
What are you doing,
all.
guy?
This would be a unicorn moment in a game that mattered.
Yeah.
They'd be like, oh, Nick Delorier.
They get a goal out of D'Lo.
We are truly blessed today by this Nick Delorier goal. And no, we are cursed by it instead.
But with Fedotov, now I said this to Charlie the other day. I don't think there's a world, even if they do nothing, I think they change the situation in net this summer. I would not be shocked if Kolosov is either loaned back to the K or traded. And Fedotov, there's a bunch of options. I don't think a single one of them is he and Sam Ersson are on the opening night roster. Like, those two as the guys, there's no way, right?
I can't imagine that they go back to this. Like, there was a point in the season where I'm like, okay, maybe they run it back or everything. I think the bigger problem here is Sam Ersson's season, because if Sam Ersson has a reliable year, and I'm not talking spectacular, I'm talking like a 900 save percentage, a 289 GAA or something, just like respectable,
just normal numbers.
Normal numbers where you feel like he's a foundation to build upon, right? And a potential starter for this team moving forward. That's okay. But Sam Ersson did not show that to us. He did not show us that he was reliable at all this year. He has had some brilliant nights in net. Like, there are nights where he truly looks like a not a special goaltender necessarily, but a solid goaltender, right? And the fact that he has not shown us that consistently, has not been able to stay healthy consistently, that screams to me that if you want this team to start actually winning some games, that you can't roll out Fedotov, you can't roll out Kolosov until those guys show you more. And frankly, again, Fedotov is almost 30 years old. he's really got no time to show you that. Kolosov, if he can be a good troop and go back to the AHL and work on his game, sure, he can get a chance in the future. But in the future, you really need a solid, reliable guy in net, not only for Sam Erson's sake, but also for the guys on this team that matter for this team moving forward.
No, that's you're watching Nick Seeler out there today. This team is eliminated. Nick Seeler has a contract where he's signed. He has to prove nothing to nobody. He's set. Everything's good for Nick Seeler. And he is out there in the 4-on-3 at overtime, blocking shots, loses his stick. He blocks a shot. He's down. The puck comes back to the dude right in front of him, and he's just covering his face because he knows he's about to get killed. Like, you can't do it. I think the same way. I said this to Kelly or Charlie or something the other day. Like, the way I thought, and I'd been a Tortorella supporter for a lot of this time here. But after watching what had unfolded prior to his firing, I just don't know if you can do it to the guys again. And ultimately, they decided we're not going to. We're not even going to do it for the final 9 games. I don't think you can do it to the guys to give them this goaltending and ultimately tell them all of your efforts are for naught, because we cannot possibly, no matter how hard you try, we can't win this way.
Nick Seeler. Let's talk about that effort from Nick Seeler at the end of that game. Because Nick Seeler's out there getting beaten like Rocky in Rocky 1. He's getting beaten like Captain America at the end of Endgame, and he's still getting back up, and he's strapping his shield, in this case, Noah Cates' stick, for something that does not matter. He is just giving it all. This game does not matter, Nicky boy. And he is just battered and bruised. And I mean, hey, that is being an effing Flyer, right, at the end of the day. But you don't need to be here. And frankly, we kind of wish you wouldn't be, because we want to lose this game. And thankfully they did. I mean, they still got the loser point, but they still lost the game. But yeah, you think, we've mentioned Matvei Michkov. That guy doesn't like losing, and we don't like seeing him lose. Travis Konechny, he doesn't like losing. He's in his prime right now. Sean Couturier had he had some great moments today. He had a moment today that really stood out to me where he almost single-handedly scored a goal against 3 Senators, where he had a really smart play where he flipped the puck in, then went after his own rebound after the goaltender. Sean Couturier ain't getting younger, and his contract ain't going anywhere, but there are guys that can help you win right now. This isn't a perfect team. It won't be a perfect team next season. There is no such thing as a perfect team, we're being honest, but there are guys that can help you win games and make a push to be in the playoffs. Looking over at the Senators, that's a team that I don't think is that much better than the Flyers. They're more complete, but they have the goaltenders, right, that can actually compete. Goaltending's a big part of the puzzle. Getting Ullmark and Forsberg, that tandem has made a big difference for this team. And I think Ersson could be part of a tandem like that, but I don't think you could do it with Fedotov or Kolosov.
No, and that's you look at what the Sens have trotted out this year. You have Linus Ullmark, 42 starts, 9-11. Anton Forsberg, 25 starts now. This would be his 26th today, but coming in, 25 starts, 904. And then with 11 starts, Levi Merilainen, and he's at 11 starts at 925. That's think about those 11 starts. That's basically what Kolosov has, and he's 100 points better. That's right there. That's the difference between playoffs and not. Those 8 wins that they have in his 11 starts. Sure. That's pretty freaking good.
And Alexei Kolosov is the guy who demanded to be in the NHL to start the season.
And that's bud. We have talked about what they could do in net next year, and we've kind of zeroed in on a couple of UFA possibilities, Alex Lyon and Jake Allen. Jake Allen, I think, he's 34, but probably earned himself a multi-year contract with his season this past year. He's been really good for the Devils. I hadn't considered Anton Forsberg before, and he's had a decent year. I could see him being maybe a tandem guy you put with Ersson. Forsberg is only, how old are you? 32. He'll play most of next year at 33. He's a late November birthday, but I could see him being maybe a guy on a 1 or 2 year deal that you could pair with Ersson and go, all right, let's split him up and see how it goes.
I mean, you just need a solid hand at the wheel, somebody that can play with Ersson. And I was okay with having the sink or swim philosophy coming into this year.
Yeah.
You did learn a lot about these guys, right? You learned that Sam Ersson probably can't be a number 1. you learn that Fedotov really just doesn't seem to have it at the NHL level. So you have a plan moving forward, but I think you're really doing a disservice to your fans. You're doing a disservice to your elite. Oh, they only have a couple players you could even put in that category, but you know what I mean? You're better players, right? You're doing a disservice to a number of people by rolling out this same tandem or some form of it next season.
All right, and before we go any further, I got to tell you about a couple of our sponsors. Got to start it off with Timeline. What is Timeline? Well, Timeline sells health and longevity supplements featuring their proprietary MitoPure ingredient. MitoPure works with the cells in your body to help reverse age-related decline, and the benefits include increased strength, energy, and endurance. How do you know? Well, it's because they've done over 15 years of research and have secured over 30 U.S. patents for these products. What do? Well, guess what? The cells in our bodies are the building blocks of life, and Timeline is a supplement that works with those cells to help give you more energy, feel stronger during workouts, and preserve health and mobility as you start to age. Take it from the PHLY hosts who have already reported a lot of these benefits using these MitoPure products. MitoPure is the only supplement clinically proven to rejuvenate health at the cellular level and is shown to deliver double-digit increases in muscle strength and endurance without a change in exercise. That's a win right there. So get ready to be your best, most energized, most revitalized self right now. Go to Timeline because they're giving you 10% off your first order of MitoPure. Go to timeline.com/PHLY today to get started. That's timeline.com/PHLY. And while we're here, I got to tell you, 1-800-588-2300
Today.
Oh, I love when someone joins in with me. Listen, just like your favorite team might need that home ice advantage, your home needs a home floor advantage. That's right. And Empire Today can help you get it. Empire Today has flooring experts dedicated to flooring. They're dedicated flooring professionals who focus on flooring every single day. It's not like you go to those big box stores where you just kind of wander around, and if you can find someone to help you, you know, maybe they work in flooring today, maybe they're in the sinks tomorrow, maybe they're stocking light bulbs the day before that, maybe they're just bringing orders out to people's cars tomorrow. Whatever it is, it's not the type of experts you can get from Empire, and that's why you need to schedule a free in-home estimate today, because some things are just better at home. PHLY listeners, you can receive a $350 discount when you use promo code PHLY. Yes, you heard that right. $350 discount with code PHLY. Restrictions apply. Visit empiretoday.com/PHLY for full details. I love talking some Empire. A couple of other things have been going on in the Flyers universe, like the Nikita Grebenkin call-up today, which eventually didn't go anywhere.
That's such a bummer, Bill. Like,
yeah.
We were on the verge, like we were sitting there, oh, something new to talk about, right? We could talk about Grebenkin.
Yeah.
That was a big part of the Lawton trade. Like, it was nice to get the first round pick, but also to get a player back that we don't know what he's going to be for the franchise moving forward, but he's got some size. He's had a little bit of success with the Phantoms. He's put up a few goals. I think he has 3 goals with the Phantoms at this point. He's been a big body on the power play. And one of the things with the Flyers is they have some really good smaller guys, but they don't have a lot of big guys to throw in front of the goaltender. So it was an intriguing player, and I was hoping he'd play today, and he did not, because the Flyers don't have regular call-ups at this point. They've used them all. It's just emergency or nothing.
And we don't know who the odd man out could have been if there was an injury, maybe someone going through warm-ups. I will say, and this is based on nothing, Charlie is off. He's at a bachelor party in Vegas, so I have no inside information here. They were talking yesterday that, like, oh, yeah, you know, we've seen Michkov grimacing a little on the bench. We've seen him banged up a couple of days.
I don't think he practiced yesterday.
I think he got a maintenance day at practice. And today, like, he gets called for embellishment, and it's like he's down on all fours. Like, in obvious considerable pain.
That was insane that he
I wonder if it was Michkov that they were like, maybe he can't go today, but then he goes out and takes warm-ups and everything's fine. So Grebenkin gets immediately loaned back to the Phantoms. It's not even let's keep him up just in case. No, the emergency rules are he ain't on the roster unless he can play over someone who is injured.
He got to skate with the team.
He
That
did.
was nice.
At least he got a
to
warm
make
up
a fun
in.
face at the camera. Like he gave a little like a toothy smile at the camera. They look like a fun guy. I'm bummed because like I mean I'd rather see Michkov in there. But
Yeah, obviously.
also if like Michkov's hurting, like I'd much prefer for Michkov to have a day off because it's not so much about these last 3 games with Matvei Michkov. It's much more about the next decade plus with him.
And it's an away game. Like I know friend of the show, Dan Knightley, who lives in the area, was there, and that would have been a bummer for him. But it's not like it's in front of the home crowd that you would have been without. I don't
care if
Matvei
Ottawa
Michkov.
doesn't see Matvei Michkov.
Yeah,
like, whatever. They got our guy Claude Giroux. They're having fun up there. They're making the offs. We're not.
Yeah, so it's not as if anyone's really missing out if they don't play him. And now you do want to give him every chance he can to rack up as many points as he can. He broke 60 yesterday, and not a ton of Flyers have ever broken 60. It would have been cool to see Grebenkin, though. Like, just as something different. Just give us a little something different now and then. I wondered if they were going to be like, and D'Lo comes out and scores. We had that earlier in the season when he was on IR. It was like, they are in a little bit of a weird roster crunch. And all of a sudden he like takes a shot at practice. Next thing you know, he's leaving the ice and he's out with an injured shoulder. We're like, I wonder if this is a little manipulation. And then when they're short on guys, it's like, no, he's still not good to go. He just happened to get it was an oddly timed, but ultimately seemed pretty truthful injury there. I wondered if they were maybe trying to talk Delorier like, shoulder bothering you still?
But Nick,
of course,
do you really need to play? But
yeah, of course he comes out and scores today.
I mean, that's the real MVP of the team right there. D'Lo time to shine.
I wouldn't mind, especially with like the final game being on the road in Buffalo. Would not mind seeing Grebenkin find a way back up here, at least for that one when, I don't want to see Mish come out in the, fan appreciation day. Like that would be a real, who was it? Was it Iverson and Chris Webber that year they were together?
Yes, that's
and they were both out for fan appreciation day.
That was a huge controversy when that happened. People were pissed and they should have been.
You can't possibly do that to the people who paid to be there.
Those are your two big guns.
Yes.
Like you're telling me, TK and Michkov are going to be out on fan appreciation night. Fan appreciation night's always a really big thing for the Flyers. I mean, there's always some cool giveaways. They have the team awards given out. It's a big deal for this team. And I think people would like to see him there. But also if he's like hurt, if he's hurting, like I care more about him for, also it's a couple games left. He's got a long off season to recover. Yeah. I think he can suck it up for the one night. And he's also a tough guy. I mean,
sure.
Michkov, and that's why I think I'm so kind of irritated that he got called for embellishment because I'm like, this guy he's not an embellisher. He's not the kind of guy who does that. This guy is a baller out there, a pucker, whatever you call a hockey player, because there's no pucker. There's no ball involved, but he's a guy who goes out there and he gives his all every night. I don't believe for a second he's embellishing. He's not rookie year Crosby over there. We remember the old Crosby and what he used to do, okay? We remember how much the refs loved old Crosby and everything they'd give to him. That's not Matvei Michkov.
But if they were to find a way to get, like, I don't know, Jakob Pelletier or Carson Dorward out of the lineup so we could get a look at Nikita Grebenkin, I wouldn't hate it.
No, and I let's talk about Pelletier for a second, too. I mean, he didn't do that much today. He did have a couple moments where he was kind of going out there and giving his all and everything. But what he's done post-Tortorella is so funny because Tortorella refused to play him. I don't know what he did to Torts, but he absolutely refused to play Pelletier. And he's had some really cool plays these past games.
It's very funny. John Tortorella seems to have made his mind up before he even saw Pelletier play.
Dude, it was so weird.
Well, he's not skilled enough to be a scorer. He's not big enough to be a checker, so I don't want him. It was, I don't know. There are guys who can, like, fill roles. Can we just see? Maybe we could just see instead of just giving him 7 minutes and saying he doesn't have it. And I have liked what I have seen out of the Tippett, Paling, Pelletier line. Now, neither Paling nor Tippett nor Pelletier get anything today in terms of showing up on the score sheet. But, like, this is the most effective we've seen Owen Tippett in a month playing with these guys. It's more of an energy line. A lot of guys, like, they can keep up maybe a little bit better with Owen Tippett so he doesn't feel as if he has to hold back. And I asked Charlie the other day, like, what's been up with Owen Tippett? Why did we see this drop this season, this big drop in his production? And we spent a ton of time talking about, well, I don't know if michkov and Tippett really like fit together because they both need the puck a lot. We need to see 400 shot attempts from Owen Tippett, and we need michkov to have as many touches as possible because he's a freaking machine out there. And Charlie was like, well, I don't think it's that he's deferring to him. I don't think he's like trying to be a good teammate. I just don't think he was assertive enough, Charlie basically said. And fair. Like, I agree too.
Yeah.
I just wonder if the opportunities, because of having Mish as his line mate so much, there is only one puck. Like, maybe it wasn't a conscious effort to be like, I'm going to be a good teammate and defer to michkov. Maybe it was just, there ain't enough touches. And my thing is rushing up the ice as quick as possible. And if I'm doing that, and say my center is Sean Couturier and my winger is Matvei Michkov, they're nowhere to be found. So maybe just having a couple of guys in Poehling and Pelletier who can complement his game a little better, play with that energy, play with that speed, be more straight line guys. Maybe that's helped him a little bit, just look more effective. He hasn't scored much still, but he looks more engaged than he did in the previous month.
I think you're onto something here because I'm just looking over some of the time on ice and shot totals right here. So Pelletier ends up with 1328 shots on ice today, 17 shifts. Tippett ends up with 1648, 3 shots on goal for Tippett. Pelletier has 1 shot. And also just looking at michkov playing with Konechny, you've talked a lot about how TK's shot totals have been down, his goals have been down. And, both actually Konechny and michkov ended up with a good amount of shots today. Konechny ended up with 3.
He's been ripping the puck more lately, making me think he's at least healthy-ish.
I mean, those guys had all the shots because he had 3. Michkov had 4. Couturier had 4. So those guys were just ripping shots left and right.
Of course, offensive dynamo Nick Delorier led the way with 5.
5 shots for Nick Delorier. What is this world?
Like, outside of him, the Flyers have 32, and 11 are the Couturier line. Like, yeah, there's only so many pucks to go around.
Yeah.
So, like, thinking of how Pelletier can be a part of this, maybe he is just a tweener. Maybe he is just like a 4th liner. Do you want to play him on your 3rd? But looking at how it's worked with Poehling, Pelletier, and Tippett, thinking about that speed, thinking about that energy, maybe Luchenko, Pelletier, Tippett is a thing we can see next year where they can match each other's speed. It's not going to be the most defensively responsible line, but Luchenko is going to be asked to play some tough minutes and be that kind of two-way guy with Cates. Cates is obviously going to lead the way there, but maybe that's something we see next year with Luchenko, Pelletier, and Tippett. I know we'd rather see Tippett in the top 6. That's where you're paying him to be. You're paying him to score 30 goals. Maybe he'll just be more effective with 14 minutes of ice time playing with guys who can match his speed.
It could be the case. I mean, I'm into that big time. I mean, I love Luchenko's speed. I think Luchenko's also got some good two-way play. So you could see some good stuff out of that. I mean, I'm excited for next year just to get those changes in there.
Just to see something a little different.
Jet Luchenko's a guy I'm obviously very excited for. I've mentioned him a bunch on like every forum I'm on and every platform I'm on. I mentioned Jet Luchenko because I really liked what I saw from him in limited time. But also, I'm excited to see Tippett get some more talented guys. When he was playing with like 4th line guys this year, it was killing me. And also, like some of the other guys, like I'm excited to see whoever they might bring in at center because I really feel strongly that they're going to make a change in some way in that regard. So to see some different faces in there, I think that's what's been really hurting us over these past few games of just like tanking and post-Tortorella and everything. It's just like we've seen enough of these guys. We know who these guys are. So what can we get in there to change things? What can we get in there to make these Flyers gear shift into a better form of what we're already seeing? Because we see some good stuff, but we want to see more.
All right, let's get to today's Ace Hardware temperature check. Let's take a look at which Flyer is heating up or cooling off with our Ace Hardware temp check. Visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on your next project. And I just had to call an audible because I want to give this to Bobby Brink. I want to check in on Bobby Brink today.
You're not going with D'Lo?
Well, we already talked
You
about
were on
D'Lo.
the verge. I saw it was on the sheet.
Yeah, we already talked about Delorier enough. He scored a goal. Good for him.
I mean, what is he, in his 30s and he's a goon? Like,
I like Nick Delorier a lot. I like that he's like one of the best fighters in the league. It's cool. But Bobby Brink picks up an assist today, and that puts him at 39 points in 77 games for the season. Yesterday doesn't end up with a goal and an assist, but is the only one to score in the shootout. The game prior to that, he had
a nice shootout goal.
Yeah, game prior to that against the Rangers, he had 2 assists and was +3. So Bobby Brink is once again on one of his little hot streaks, and I just like Bobby Brink a lot. I want to see what he can be, and I think Charlie put it best. Like, I'm not sure if Bobby Brink can score enough to ultimately be an everyday, really good top 9 player on a very good team. Not sure. But we've seen him round out his game enough that he's going to get that chance. He's not a defensive liability. He's not a guy who gets pushed around. He did take a big shot behind the net tonight, took a really hard hit, and guess what happened? He popped right up. So he's tough. He can deal with this game at his size. I think he's elusive enough that that won't be a regular thing. And you look at the numbers, 39 points in 77 games. 77 games, 39 points. It's not as if that's a huge total, but he plays under 15 minutes a game. And again, we get to that power play. 4 of his 39 points are on the power play. If we can just get someone out there who can fix this thing a little bit, everyone will put up a few more points and the numbers will look better. But I like what we're seeing out of Bobby Brink, especially in this second half of the season. And I am looking forward to seeing how he's utilized going forward.
I'm a big fan of Brink as far as like his offensive creativity. He's not the best defensive player you're ever going to see. He'll never be that guy. That's just who he is. He's a tough little guy, though. He doesn't back down from anyone. And yeah, man, he can do some really interesting things with the puck in the offensive zone that I don't think a lot of other guys on this team are capable of.
Listen, as hopefully some of these draft picks work out, as they add talent and free agency and trades and offer sheets and all the fun things we think they're going to do, hopefully, like, the puck skill and overall talent on this team is enhanced. But at this very moment, there are only so many guys who handle the puck on this team better than Bobby Brink does. He's one of the better, more creative passers on the team, one of the better puck handlers, one of the few guys who I have any faith in going in on a shootout, as we saw yesterday.
That was a great move on the shootout. It
was.
And, like, if you look at the other shootout attempts, like, it's just he did more things with the puck as far as his stick handling goes and showing the goalie something and then taking it away that a lot of those other guys weren't doing on both teams, frankly.
And that's like, I like Noah Cates a lot, and we see Cates now scored his, 16th goal of the season today. He's up to 36 points. That's great. But no one is going to confuse Noah Cates with like a creative offensive player. No. He is a good forechecker. I think he has a place on this team somewhere. Not sure what it is. Is he a center? Is he a winger? He's good, though. He's a good player, but I don't see him as like a great match for Bobby Brink once this thing is what it's supposed to be. Get him out there, even if it's just on the power play with a more creative center, and I think we could see a lot more from Brink.
Well, we were talking a lot about Tyson Forrester in pregame, right? And Tyson Forrester has been kind of the story of this team for the past 5-6 games at this point. Because he's just been lighting up the lamp, right? And the thing that's been working with that line throughout a lot of the season is Bobby Brink gets to be your creative offensive player. Tyson Forrester gets to be the guy who, on a good day, can put the biscuit in the basket, right? He's the guy who can score. So if you have a creative guy and you have a goal scorer, and then you can maybe get a more creative offensive player at center between them, you could be cooking with some gas with those guys.
Absolutely. There's a lot of pieces together on this team that don't fit. And even if it's as a part of a trade, a hockey trade that actually makes this team better, like displaying all these different things that these guys can do, I think is going to pay dividends in the future. All right. Let's get to our next break and lead it off with our friends at Game Time. One home game left. We're talking about Fan Appreciation Night. Always a fun night down there at the Farg if you want to go check out the final home game on Tuesday. But maybe you're looking to some playoff hockey. Well, we're not getting that at the NHL level. But maybe you want to take that trip up to Allentown and check out the Phantoms, check out some of the young guys as they make their way through the Calder Cup playoffs. Of course, summer concerts coming up, comedy, theater, whatever you want to do. If you need a ticket to it, you should get it with Game Time. Because of the features like Game Time Picks, it filters out the fluff and shows you only the best deals on the best seats. Not to mention the all-in pricing, never any surprises when you get to check out. And fees have doubled my total. No, they give you everything up front when you toggle on all-in pricing. Same thing with when you get to the venue, no surprises because you've already seen your seat with the seat view, panoramic view of your wherever you buy your tickets. Not to mention the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So you take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time and Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code PHLY for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code PHLY for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. And now let me tell you about ALLCITY Furniture. The low prices are blooming at ALLCITY Furniture, so spring into savings with our friends at ALLCITY. Save up to 50% off living rooms, bedrooms, and dining rooms, and have it all delivered for free. That's right, no delivery fees. Plus, get long-term, no-interest financing. Save on top brand mattresses and get free delivery, setup, and removal. All of that. Free delivery, setup, removal of your old stuff. What else could you ask for? So don't wait. Spring in the savings now at ALLCITY South Jersey and ALLCITY Philadelphia. Disclaimer, financing with approved credit. Minimum purchase required. Some exclusions may apply. See store for complete details. Hurry to ALLCITY and visit ALLCITYfurniture.com for more information. All right, let's get to today's 3 stars. That's right, it's Charlie O'Connor's 3 stars of the game presented by Rite Aid. And of course, Charlie is not here, so it will be Bill's 3 stars.
Oh, baby. Nick Delorier 3 times.
Yes, absolutely. We are going to give star number 3 to Nick Delorier. Scores a goal, leads the team in shots with 5, has 3 hits, blocks 1 as well, does all of this in 11:21 of ice time. So we are going to give star number 3 in this overtime loss to Nick Delorier.
Monster. Monster game for D'Lo.
It really was.
For
honestly,
D'Lo, this is as good as it gets. The only thing missing was a fight.
I was hoping he could get one. Also was hoping if Hathaway got in a fight there at the end when he got laid out clearing that puck.
He just got up and laughed, though.
Yeah.
That's the point we're at the season. Yes. Hathaway's getting laid out, and he's just like, that was just funny. I'm not even mad. That's amazing.
But he already had the goal and the assist. I was hoping he would get up and get that Gordy, but he's got a family to think of, too.
That man's got a family.
Let's give star number 2 to Thomas Chabot, the defenseman over there on the Ottawa side. He has 3 points. He's +2, plays over 20 minutes tonight. 1 shot on goal. 3 points for Chabot. Plays the 20 minutes. Only Jake Sanderson played more on Ottawa's blue line. We're going to go star number 2, Thomas Chabot. And yeah, Tim Stützle with a couple of goals, plus an assist, +2, over 20 minutes as well for him. Couple of shots, a block, and 2 hits for Stützle. A great player, great game. Undressed Zamula and the Flyers defense on that 1 goal.
Oh my God, Zamula Andre back on that goal just had no idea what was coming for them. Stützle just kicked it into overdrive, skated right around Zamula. Zamula was basically disintegrated. He was just dust.
And then in overtime, he scores the power play game winner from Batherson and Giroux. So that's that. Those are your 3 stars. Delorier, Chabot, Stützle in today's 4-3 overtime loss. And as always, 3 stars are presented by Rite Aid. Even when Charlie isn't here, Charlie O'Connor's 3 stars are presented by our friends at Rite Aid. Let's get today's keyword. And not only are we going to have a keyword for today's game, but we're going to pick a winner for yesterday's show with the back-to-backs and just like the studio show tomorrow. We'll have today's winner, and then Tuesday's a game. I didn't want to throw this all to like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I didn't want to. Don't want to stretch that out. Still 2 games left. So even though today is a game day show, we are going to pick yesterday's winner. And of course, yesterday's keyword was bored because it was a Flyers-Islanders game. And let's see who wins from yesterday's keyword. It is David Wilson. As I try to unfold this, David Wilson, you win a PHLY Flyers shirt of your choosing. I will be in touch in the DMs after today's show. That was yesterday's keyword winner. Now let's pick today's keyword. All you have to do to enter, send the keyword to PHLY Flyers either on Twitter, in the DMs, or in the Blue Sky DMs. That's right. DM us, PHLY_Flyers on Twitter, PHLY Flyers on Blue Sky. Today's keyword, Galley, Galley. In reference to Gary Galley, who did a great job today, I thought.
What a pinch hitter today.
Filling in Bush, working the TNT game. Hartnell on assignment, whatever that means.
I guess he's finding new ways to fall down.
Who's to say? But whatever it means, we got Gary Galley on color today alongside Jim Jackson, and I thought he did a hell of a job. It was really well done. He did his homework. He seemed to know, like, facts and how people played yesterday. Like, he actually watched the game.
He was awesome.
It was really, really well done. I would not mind if he were to join the stable of broadcasters we've got, but I believe he does some Sens games and different stuff up there. That's kind of why he was available. He's just there.
I mean, that's essentially an e-bug performance today, right? Like,
that's exactly what it was. Emergency backup commentator is what we got, and it's like the dude who filled in for the Canes, and
exactly, and beat his
old team. Beat the team that employs him.
What an awesome moment in
the Zamboni driver.
Just an amazing moment.
Like, the fact that it happened to the Leafs is really what makes it.
It's as funny as it gets. Yeah, Gary Galley, outstanding performance today, and you know what he had? What we in the broadcasting industry call gravitas.
He did. He seemed like he just seemed like someone I should listen to.
Yeah.
Like, I appreciated the performance we got out of Gary Galley, and if he were to join the NBC Sports Philly family, I wouldn't mind at all. Really good. So that's today's keyword. It's Galley. Again, DM it at PHLY_Flyers on Twitter, PHLY Flyers on the old Blue Sky. All right, let's get to today's Tankathon spin. It's time. The Flyers pick up a point today. Are they at 6? Okay, 6. It is so much more difficult when we do the StreamYard shows. It's the monitor is, my laptop. And this is like, I feel like an old freaking man.
Oh, yeah.
Allegedly, I have 20/20 vision still, but between this and the super chats, I can't see anything. So who the hell knows?
We're going to start getting binoculars for this. Get those like opera glasses.
So this is the standings as of now. Obviously, games today and everything. We'll do another spin on tomorrow's show at 4 p.m. But for right now, April 13th at almost 20-5, Brynna, spin that wheel.
Tank.
They fall to 7, which is, of course, one of those terrible possible outcomes.
What's the opposite of woo?
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. Whatever. It's like the sound of a machine dying. Like when, yes, it's the downslide on the slide whistle. That's what it is. Yeah, so it's really the worst possible outcome, the falling. Because man, you get to that 4 or 5 spot, it's great, and you're hoping to stay there or win. You have pretty good odds to win. But really, it's if you lose a spot or two, you're not all of a sudden at 8.
Yeah. Well, we got 2 games left, Bill.
2 games left.
We need Columbus.
Regulation losses.
We got Columbus, and we got Buffalo. And I don't know. I actually have not been paying attention to the last 10. I know Buffalo stayed pretty hot.
Buffalo's been good lately.
7-2-1 in their last 10. Columbus is 6-4-0. So you're saying there's a chance.
If Columbus loses in any fashion today, I am trying to find. I think Columbus plays today. Columbus plays the Caps today. They're in Washington. If they lose in any fashion, I believe that locks in the final spot for the Habs. So then Tuesday's game with Columbus will be 4-0.
The good news
which is annoying.
The Caps have already clinched
Have
the top
stopped
spot,
caring.
Right?
Yeah.
They have stopped caring. So let's go, Jackets. Come on.
Come on. Stay alive.
You guys, you can do it.
We need the Capitals we need the Blue Jackets to stay alive so that they are playing for perhaps something on Tuesday.
I believe.
But we'll see. We'll see how that all turns out with tonight's games and all that. Before we get to the Super Chats, I just do want to talk about one thing with you, and it's the idea of rooting for Claude Giroux in the playoffs. Giroux has not been to the playoffs since 2020. The Sens, we all know how much I hate the Senators, but they are going.
Are you still just on the early 2000s brawl kick with them?
The 2 playoff series before that,
It was annoying.
where we were just so bad, and it was just the worst thing of all time. And then, of course, Martin Havlat, and Havlat was going to be the key word today before Gary Galley. Before Gary Galley did a good job.
Oh man!
I was thinking about using Havlat, who's still hiding in the penalty box at the Wells Fargo Center. I'm pretty sure. That was going to be
my kind of references, folks. This is what I live for as an old.
That was going to be our keyword today, but Gary Galley was good, and you can only beat this dead horse with Martin Havlat so much. So Giroux in the playoffs for the first time in 5 years. The Sens in the playoffs for the first time in forever. Brady Tkachuk, I think, endeared himself to us all during Four Nations. They have some guys I think everyone kind of likes rooting for, and when a team hasn't been there in a bit, it's fun when they take a little bit of a run, not to mention it looks like they're going to be matched up with the Leafs, and that's just funny when the Leafs lose in the first round, even when they win the division and play a wild card team. Are you rooting for Claude Giroux in the playoffs?
This is an easy one for me, Bill. Absolutely. Look, I have very little to root for in these playoffs beyond I want Edmonton to go out early and Colorado, if possible, for those first round picks. But
that's good, yeah.
My guy Claude, man, I've always been a huge Claude guy. Rooting for Claude is an easy choice. I also think the Sens look sharp today. I think that's a nice jersey pairing right there. I like a good sharp
The black
jersey.
on black is cool.
The
I
black
like that.
on black with the red,
Yeah,
which is they do it right. I'm all in. I think this is a likable Sens team. I think they're a lot of fun. I like the Leafs losing early, especially they finally won that division, or they look like they're going to win that division, right?
Yeah.
They're up there. Their hopes are really high, so they have a really long way to fall crashing back down.
They brought
to
in
earth.
team leader Scott Laughton.
And Craig Berube's over there too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Anthony Stolarz. Okay, there's a lot of ex-Flyer.
There's a lot going on in that
sides. Yeah.
series. I hadn't really thought of Nick Cousins plays for the freaking Sens. There's a lot of Flyers ties in this thing.
I got nothing against our old friend Stoltender, the goaltender. I think what he's been doing has been awesome at his age.
I love it.
To have a second act like he's had is unbelievable. But man, the Leafs losing is really funny. And also the fact that they traded a first in Grebenkin for Scott Laughton, who I love to death, but Scott Laughton ain't worth the first in Grebenkin.
Yeah.
It's really, really funny to me. Go Sens, go.
Yeah, it's going to be the first round. We're going to talk about this a little on tomorrow's show, I think. The first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs has some really freaking interesting matchups in it. Like you said, we have the Battle of Ontario with the Sens and the Leafs. You have the two Florida teams facing off. You have the Caps and the Caps and the Habs. That'll be cool. And then you look out west, like Dallas, Colorado in the first round. You get the fourth straight matchup of LA and Edmonton, and it looks like LA is going to hold on for home ice, and they're 31-5-4 at home and 15-19-5 away. So home ice is wildly important to them.
Isn't it crazy when that actually happens?
Yeah. You get a battle of looks like the Blues and Golden Knights in that first round as well. Like the hot team versus the team that we all just think is Vegas. They'll probably be in the Final Four every year.
Probably should be. Yeah.
I think this first round really shaping up, but I have a hard time rooting for Giroux in the playoffs because I said I was done after the 2008 Phillies guys all retired. All right, I'll root for the Dodgers because it's Utley and Rollins. Once all those dudes were done, who was it? Victorino was in Boston for a little bit. I said, no more. Kimmo Timonen was maybe my last one too.
Yeah, and that was still like, that felt a little dirty because it was Chicago and they beat us. Like, it just was like, that was a real, like, I'm dead inside and I want a guy I like to be happy.
And like our picks got better though. It was like, if they win, it's a second. If they don't, it's a third or
still
fourth.
Felt dirty though.
Like I at least had incentive there. I am now, if you win here, I'm cool with it. If you don't, I can't do it anymore.
When I say rooting for, it's a very light rooting for, because the Flyers have me real dead inside in general with hockey right now. So like, I'll be watching and it'll be nice if he wins, but I don't really care if most of these teams win or lose. Like, this is a very...
It's really about Edmonton and Colorado going out early.
And it's about the New Jersey Devils losing, because that's a franchise that no matter what happens, I want them to lose.
Yeah.
I don't care who they play. I want them to lose first and foremost. So
no, if my mom was on that team, I'd be like, I'm still rooting against them.
Absolutely. The Devils, the Penguins, the Rangers, it doesn't matter who's on that team. I want them to lose and lose horribly. So, yeah, I'm rooting for Edmonton. I'm rooting just for people to lose more than I am rooting for Claude to win. Like, it's nice if Claude wins some stuff. He ain't winning the cup with that team.
No,
I think we all know that.
That would be quite surprising.
That would be extremely surprising. I am rooting for the Devils to lose horribly and embarrassingly. I am rooting for the Oilers to lose. I don't really care how they lose, just as long as it's early, and the same with the Avs. Like, let's get those picks bettered up. Let's do it. Bettered up, that's not a word, but who cares?
All right, let's hit the Super Chats. We have about 5 today. Let's lead it off with our pal JH. Is there a rule preventing someone from duct taping the goalie's stick to his GD hand? Probably. I would guess there is a rule preventing that.
It would have been implemented. I think they would already have that equipment if they could. Like Garth Snow would have had that equipment back in '96 if it was possible, because Garth Snow took every equipment advantage that he could.
He would have covered himself in like fly paper just so he doesn't ever drop a rebound.
Yes.
Like it would be like the replacements when he covers himself in Stickum.
Or like, I was also thinking of Little Giants. The kid had the hands.
Absolutely.
Like that.
All right. Who is Mike Mall? Says,
who is Mike
somebody
Mall?
Stop this Flyers ride. I want to get off. I think I'm going to be sick. It is absolutely hilarious that they are, what now, 5-1-1 under Brad Shaw?
Brad Shaw.
Do you think Brad Shaw has a chance?
I think he's got, I don't know where I'd put the odds at for his chance. I'd say he's got like a 30% chance right now. Like, it's not the best odds I've ever seen, but the vibes are good. The team seems to like him. And you can actually look at what he's done under the Tortorella regime as the only positive. So he's got a chance, but there's so many shiny toys. Like you were just hearing today about, like, Jonesy was out in St. Louis.
Talking to Pat Ferschweiler,
Yeah, he's talking to the Champs coach out there. He's, and he's got a connection there. So there's that. There's a lot of shiny new toys that could happen. And I think also the season ticket holders probably want to see something completely new, and you can't really fault them for that.
Now, this is something we've talked about because, like, the Dave Hackstall hire was made so much because of Ron Hextall's connection to Hack through his son coaching him. Would the Jonesy, Western Michigan, they were line mates, their buddies connection rub you the wrong way in a similar fashion? Or is it like, yeah, but I like Jonesy? Not to mention this dude just won a national championship, something Dave Hackstall never did.
Yes.
Coaching one of our prospects, Alex Bump, who's a 5th-round pick, who now looks like he's going to be something.
Dave Hackstall is just Flyers Chip Kelly at the end of the day, right? They hired a loser college coach to lose at the NHL level. So there's that. But yeah, I like the fact that he's a winner now at this point. That's always like a really appealing thing. And, I like Jonesy. I think ultimately you have to give every front office their own coaching hire. So I think we have to kind of trust that. I like the winner aspect, and I like the newness ultimately. The newness beats out the fact that it's a Jonesy buddy in a way, because at least it's not Flyers alumni.
That's true.
Like, if Rick Tocchet came in here, I think we'd all have the right to riot, because that's as tried and true Flyers alumni recognizable name as it gets.
Yes. That's basically Bobby Clark. And now head over to allphly.com because we're going to overtime. We're going to finish.
For the 23rd time.
Yeah. Us, much like the team, go to overtime every single time. Let's finish up the super chats. Let's get to Obi-Wan. He says, when was the last time the Flyers had this much ammo in the draft? I mean, 7 picks in the top 2 rounds, and really so many of them near the top.
I can tell you one thing, Bill. It was pre-Paul Holmgren.
Yes, it was. It's been a while, as Kelly Hinkle may say. It has been a while, Obi. Let's see. From Flyers Chirp says, hi, guys. Hear me out. Vanacek in the offseason. Trade Coots and your 6th to Boston for their 4th. Lafreniere for York and Risto. Offer sheet Bork. Sure. Absolutely.
I'm down for Vanacek, but like the Bruins, I don't know what kind of retention you'd have to work out for the Bruins to take on the Coots contract. You get out of the Coots contract, you take it. All right. I love my captain, but that contract stinks real bad.
And Vitek Vanacek, is he okay? He had a decent year this year.
Yeah. I mean, I'm willing to take like any chance at somebody in goal. Like, let's use our imaginations. Let's branch out. But like, yeah, I mean, I'm more intrigued by other options in net, even including probably Alex Lyon, who that's a retread, but like we never really gave him a chance at the NHL level. So I'm intrigued. He's had really good success outside of here.
And he's that perfect. Like, he's a backup.
Yes.
That's what Alex Lyon is. You're not asking him to start 50 games.
Well, because I think the thing is we're fine with Ersson in a tandem, but you need a more reliable partner. But you also want to keep the opportunity open if, again, this miracle scenario where Kolosov improves himself drastically. Or I think our bigger thing is we're thinking about Carson Bjarnason. We're thinking about Zavragin. Like, there are guys in the pipeline that we want to get a proper chance. So I like not committing to necessarily like a big name just yet.
The idea of offer sheeting Maverick Bork is interesting to me because I think Dallas is going to be one of those teams, a little bit of an internal budget. They have a lot of guys that they need to sign, keep around. Now, they have some money coming off the books. Jamie Benn, if he stays there, which I assume he will, is going to take a major pay cut. Tyler Seguin, I think his contract's up in a year or two, so he'll stop making 10.5 or whatever he's at. But I remember seeing an interview a few months ago about what Dallas was thinking about doing around 2017. It was like, do we need to tear this down and start over? And like, we actually can. And that tells me they're not a team that is going to be spending to this cap when it's $150 million or whatever it's going to be. And if you do have an internal budget, those are the teams you need to take advantage of.
Well, I think it was actually, I did the Dallas game with you.
Yeah.
And you interviewed your associate from the Dallas, PHLY. I forget exactly what
DLLS. That's a tough one to say.
But I remember him talking about the fan base and opening up, like if Houston, maybe that would expand the fan base, having a local rival, right? But that says to me that there ain't like a large network of Stars fans out there feeding that machine, right? Like the Flyers, there's always at least 18, 19,000 people attending a lot of these games, right? But then also you got that Comcast money. So we got some deep pockets to work with. And they also just already locked down Wyatt Johnston, who we had, kind of circled as a potential target over there. So, I think there's a lot of intriguing things to happen with the Dallas Stars.
In my mind, it's going to be a Star, a Jet, or a Duck. Those are the 3 teams I would be targeting.
Oh, there's a little bit of history with the Ducks at this point, eh? Quack, quack, quack.
Those are the teams I am targeting in my head right now. All right, let's see this next one. Another one from Flyers Chirp. Just says, more money for dealing with my ridiculousness. Always appreciate it. Thank you for dropping into the Super Chats. We got one from Gary B here. Fedotov got the memo about the tank, thankfully. Early in the game, it was like, oh, here we go. Another good game for a bad goalie, and eventually it fell off a bit. So that was nice to see. All right, another one here from JH says, Carl, I just don't know. I don't know if this is the situation David Carl's looking for.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know that, but I mean, hey, again, you got some deep pockets. You got a mega corporation here.
We have one aspect of the 3 things I think he's looking for. As much money as he could possibly ask for, we can meet. Sure. 2, he wants a chance to win. I don't know how soon. If it's, I'm into building something and we can win down the line, great. If he's like, I want to step into like a situation of a team that's a little further along.
Like the Rangers might meet that criteria if you're looking for that.
And then there's the third thing. He doesn't want a situation where he's hired to be fired. He wants what at least we thought we had with Torts, where it was more of a he's a little more than a coach. He's here for the long haul. I don't know if that exists in the NHL, but historically, that is not the Flyers.
But John Tortorella also is an exception to that rule because he is John Tortorella, right? Like, John Tortorella is one of the most infamous coaches in NHL history. He's up there with Iron Mike Keenan for just being a noted jerk, right? As far as being a just crazy head coach. So I don't know. I think, Carl, Bud, we have Matvei Michkov. What else do you need?
Yeah, come on. That's it. All right. And one more here from JH says, 83 likes, but can Bill eat today, Brenna? Please. We're only at 88. This is unacceptable. This is absolutely unacceptable. 88, while a great number in Flyers history, it is not 100, which is the goal every day. So before we wrap up, get us to 100, and everyone listening to this like on demand, whenever, get us to 450 or whatever we're at by the time you're listening.
Bill and I are going hungry, folks.
Yes,
come on.
Clearly. And this has been PHLY Flyers Postgame presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. We'll be back tomorrow with a 4 p.m. show. Remember, this is like one of the last few weeks we'll be on at 4, starting April 28th. It's a Monday. We go to noon for the off season. I can't wait. So make sure you take note of that. It'll be Monday, April 28th, Monday to Friday, 12 noon Eastern start times. All right. Follow us on Twitter at PHLY_Flyers.
And Bill, if I may, it has been a pleasure doing these pre- and post games with you this season. Thank you very much for having me on.
Steve, make sure everyone out there checks out Flyperbole. Steve's done a great job for us, and he does a great job on his show as well. Everyone over there at BSH does tremendous. Follow us on YouTube. Hit that like button. Hit that reminder bell so you never miss the live show. I already said Twitter. Follow the podcast. Wherever you get those, just search PHLY Flyers. 2 more games, fam. Until next time, let's go tank.
We all silly like the mayor.